today that once again belongs to the Bulls. We've got Sandeep Wagle in to talk about a couple of trading ideas now. Sandeep, good afternoon. What are you looking to do? I'm guessing some buys on your list?
Afternoon, Surbi. Yes, a buy in ICICI Pru that's on the verge of a breakout. Stop loss 343, target 375. And a buy in a Nestle, stop loss 10,900, target 11,340.
Okay, Sandeep, thanks a lot for those trading ideas. Yes, ICICI Pru today gave you that dip, but after that, just one-way move once again. In fact, opened at 336, around 338, ICICI Pru. And after that, just a move upward towards 350 is what you've had. Prakash, of course, yesterday was about shorts getting stuck, but have we got a benchmark price now, 321? Do you want to buy it if it falls around that level, or perhaps here itself?
No, this seems to be a little bit overblown because of the momentum that started off yesterday. And in fact, the best day to do it was yesterday, and you put an order at 322, 325, and you could get as much as you wanted. The significant reason being this was an OFS from Prudential, which has been wanting to do this for its own set of reasons, and there was no commentary or a comment on the business condition or where the value of the business stands. And my sense is these are days when you have to take advantage of some of these mismatches if you're on the right side of the trade. But 350 plus, there's a breakout technically which could probably take it towards 375, 380. But I think it will start stretching itself into that overvalued zone beyond this level. So 320, sub 320 is definitely an attractive zone to add.
Okay. There is some more move on a couple of the NBFC stocks. Canfin Homes, for instance, 2.5% up. Indiabulls Housing, we've discussed with Mr. Tulsian, 6% now. By the way, on that stock, Muthoot Finance is moving higher. So NBFCs very clearly are the flavor. Let me toss this question to you as well, Prakash. Considering that, once again, there's just money chasing a lot of these stocks and themes all over again. On housing finance specifically, what do you do? I mean, let me throw in an LIC housing as well. Would you look at buying anything, or do you think this is one pocket that you should still just kind of stay away?
No. I think if you would stay away from housing finance company, the maximum delta today is being offered there because it was absolutely down. And it's kind of been the first to make a pullback, a comeback of sorts. So if you see the kind of moves that you have in an M&M Financial Services or an L&T FH or for that matter Shriram are not as spectacular as an Indiabulls Housing. The reason is because it was much lower than what it deserved to be, and it kind of comes back sharper, and the momentum could still take it. The follow-up buying is happening as you can see from the screen. I would still stick to, a very divergent kind of a player. One is, on one side, take the HDFC Limited into your this thing. Because remember, that's also something which is not yet delivered to the extent that housing finance companies should, as a re-rating of the sector, kind of gets digested by the street. And on the other side, you could have an Indiabulls Housing, which has probably valuations giving you a lot of comfort. HDFC Limited might seem expensive, but I think the growth, the PEG ratios out there seem to be much more favorably poised. So HDFC and Indiabulls, two horses, you ride the housing finance chariot fairly comfortably.
Okay. By the way, there's some move happening in Z Entertainment, Dish TV and Z both. Mr. Chan, you have been quite bullish on Z. But 438 now, it's corrected from its highs. High was somewhere around 470, 480. From there, it's corrected a bit. What's the call now at around this level? Would you want, from investor point of view, for the deal to be announced, any kind of deal to be announced before taking a call, or is this a good level to perhaps add some?
See, Anuj, I have in fact in the last 1 month or maybe last couple of months, I have been taking call on 3 stocks based on the opportunity in adversity. One was Yes Bank at 190, 180 or maybe 190, and we have seen the stock moving to 280 in less than 1 month. Second was Jet Airways at 220, 225, and today we have seen the stock moving to 270, 275, having moved to 285. And in fact, continue to have a positive view on both the stocks over the next 3 to 4 months. Now coming third stock is the entertainment, where we have been taken a call at 4:30 when the management has announced after that they will be going ahead with the stake sale and all sort of things. Stock moved to a level of 490, 480, 485. On the premise that the stake sale is likely to happen in the end of April or maybe first week of May at an expected price of about 540, 545, which will vastly re-rate the stock. Even if promoters go ahead and sell their 50% stake, that is 20% overall in the company, which will also trigger the open offer, because if a strategic investor comes in. So that will be seen quite positive, and in fact promoters are open in selling their entire stake as well if they get a good price. So yes, this is the third stock where we are expecting a good upside, to be seen in next couple of months. As I said, the timeline has to be middle of May, end of April or first week of May. So keep that timeline in your mind, and if that point of view, if you buy it, probably you can see a level of 490 to 500 again in next couple of months. So giving you good margin of safety because of the valuations and because of the pure fundamentals. It's seen to be an excellent asset where a lot of interest will be taken by the evinced buyer. A lot of interest will be evinced by the potential buyers in the stock going forward.
Okay, by the way, some of the erstwhile favorite theme stocks have also come back in this month of March. Shrimp stocks, for instance. So look at Apex Frozen or look at Avanti Feeds. Today it's the turn of Apex. Yesterday it was Avanti. Apex is up about 7 to 8% today. There's some talk, there's a brokerage report talking about how exports are back and this year's crop is apparently better off. So, Mr. Tulsian, just some a final thought before we let you go today on the erstwhile theme stocks. Now, whether it is shrimp, very, very different sector. I'm talking about graphite. Again, HEG and graphite are working today. A stock like IOL Chemicals, again, a China-related, play where there was a ibuprofen, I believe, shortage. So, how does one approach these stocks? It's very easy to get tempted and go back to them because they were wealth creators in the past.
See, Surabhi, each has its own theme. If I first quickly go on the maybe HEG and graphite, graphite electrode, the kind of induction furnaces seen getting closed, and electric arc furnace are again seen as revival for steel making, and that is seen to be leading higher demand. And in fact, if you see both these stocks are ruling at a P multiple of 4, even on the reduced margin, where we have seen a shrinkage of EBITDA margin by about 5-6%. And I am hopeful that the same margin is going to get maintained by these companies, both HEG and Graphite India. So yes, quite positive, and I won't be surprised to see them giving a gain of about 25% in this next 3 to 4 months. Coming on the second theme of the IOL chemical, I won't be restricting only to ibuprofen where this IOL is making. In fact, that theme is getting applied to all many other chemicals, maybe like agrochemicals, specialty chemicals or dye intermediates, where I have been in fact keeping extremely positive in this last 2 or 3 months. And in fact, many of the stocks have been given by me in that space. So that is again a very happening space. And third, coming on the third one, which you have said of the shrimp, yeah. But if you really see yes, I agree that the shrimp exports have started. But if you see the 3 raw materials, that is fish meal and the flour meal and the wheat flour, which are used as a feed for shrimp farming, that is seen to be rising or having risen in this last maybe 6 months or so, while the export prices have not risen. And with the rupee having strengthened in this last maybe couple of months, probably I'm not saying that I'm taking a negative call, but I won't be so bullish on the stocks like Avanti Feed and Apex Frozen, though Avanti Feed is up today, but we will be keeping a pause that allow probably this rally may fizzle out. But yes, the carbon black theme, in addition to the graphite electrode theme, are seen more interesting, maybe like Philips Carbon, Goa Carbon kind of stocks. So maybe a pause, or maybe we'll wait and watch for the shrimp farmers, but other 2 sectors and the other 2 themes are seen to be quite attractive.
All right, Mr. Tulsian, thanks a lot for joining us. We'll talk to you tomorrow. For now, let's move on. By the way, for all you Manchester United fans, it's great news. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is a new full-time manager, so that's something that most of us wanted and has happened. Amit Gupta of ICICI Direct is with us now to discuss some F&O trades. Amit, hi, good afternoon. What would be your top ideas?
Yeah, see, if you look at the rollovers, it has been really great this time. I mean, it is despite the fact that in Nifty, we had almost 70 bips or 80 bips of, spread from March to April futures. But despite this, I think it's a before event move in market, which is likely to continue now for the month of April also. So from this, if I have to pick something, then definitely from the banking space, because Bank Nifty is trading at 6-month high open interest. and that is driving into the stocks which have not performed that much so far. This move started from the private banking, but now you are seeing how the PSU banking has started performing. In fact, recently the FI flows in the debt market has also started. I mean, it was there in equity for this whole month of March, but it was lagging actually in the debt segment. But once it has started, my sense is the 10-year GSEC yields that will also start declining, and that is where the PSU banking will come more into the surface. And if you look at Bank of Baroda, so this is something, because of this merger, it was not performing much, but over recently what we have observed, very good delivery pickup. In fact, over this, if you look at when it had fallen to 100 or 110 rupees, the open interest in futures was almost life high. So that means the futures positions were mostly in the short side that time, and it made a bottom. It moved up from there, and now almost 25% of closer we have seen in the future space. So that means the people are closing their short positions, and that is where for the month of April, where I think the positivity is likely to continue, you will see such kind of stocks having more short closer, because still the OI is high. It is only 25% cut, and it is falling from the life high levels of open interest. So my sense is Bank of Baroda possibly can move towards 145 or 150 levels also. So you can be the buyer at these levels. Now, second that we are giving is from the consumption space. Now, consumption space has not been performing of late that much. In fact, most of these stocks, they have seen the long liquidation trend, but the exception cases are there, like the stocks like Asian Paints or Pidilite kind of stocks. So Asian Paints particularly, it has made a life high. And if you observe right now, the open interest, it has also declined by 25% if you compare the last couple of series higher open interest. And it was, for the last 7 or 8 months, it was facing very stiff resistance near 1430 or 1450. And that is where the people try to go short in the stock, but eventually once it is above 1450, my sense is now more closer of these positions in the open interest you will see, which will drive the stock much higher. So overall, I think this is one stock which may remain quite stable, because whichever stock has made the life highs recently, we have seen they have become very stable. This phenomena was very evident in pharma, where Torrent Pharma, Divi's Lab kind of stocks, they made the life highs when the other stocks were down, and that is where we saw those two stocks remained very stable. So that kind of scenario may be there now in Asian Paints. It will remain very stable. The downsides remain very stable, very limited towards 1440, 1450. But on the higher side, it can move towards 1550 or higher. So you can be the buyer in this now.
Okay. All right, Amit, thank you very much for giving us those trading calls on the futures and options market. Thanks for joining in. On that note, let's go across and say hi to our next guest on the show. Rajat Rajgaria, MD Institutional Equities at Motilal Oswal, joins in. They have been in the midst of their conference. So, Rajat, first thing first, how's the Josh, or how was the Josh in the conference?
Well, I think we expected that the conference will give a lot of interesting ideas. This was the first ideation conference that we have hosted, where about 120 companies participated and a large base of investors from across the globe essentially met these companies to figure out how's the year ending, how's the next year outlook is looking like. I think on an aggregate, the overall tone was quite positive, and the markets over the last few weeks have anyways been on an uptrend. So all in all, the overall mood of the event was very, very positive.
Okay, Rajat, hi, good afternoon. So overall mood positive, but are there any risk factors which are being showcased right now? We've had a strong run over the last 2 months.
Well, I think a couple of important points. While there were specific sectors where there were words of caution. For example, autos. I think March month volumes for a lot of the companies is unlikely to be good, and a lot of the companies also did not had any great guidance outlook for the coming quarter, which is April to June. Select pockets of consumption, or I should say consumer staples, also were talking about some kind of a slowdown. So as far as companies are concerned, there were a large number of companies where things were looking better, but of course there were some spaces where We have seen some slowdown happening in the recent months, and some of those companies were also guiding for this to continue in the coming quarter also.
By the way, there's a very sharp up move on Bharti Airtel. It's something that you really can't ignore right now. There's a 3% gain on the stock. And if we look at it, yeah, pretty much the highs of the day. Let's pull up Vodafone Idea, because Vodafone Idea, since they announced the rights at 12.5 rupees, the stock has been steadily correcting.
That also surged, but that's come off.
Yeah, it's also come off. Some interesting moves on a couple of telecom stocks. Anuj, you were saying?
No, I was also spotting that move. Also, perhaps Infratel, that's something to watch out for. I think HPCL, BPCL, IOC, some of the stocks of this series, they are having a very strong run, Surabhi. I think for me, the interesting stock for last few minutes really has been Z Entertainment. The way that's been surging, it's been a very, I mean, if you see over the last few days, it's been, coming down. But today, the price volume action is quite interesting, 4.5% higher on that stock. Look at that move from 466, one way down, and now I think there's some support and it's seen some kind of buying.
I guess one thing's clear, that there's this moratorium, so big holders of the stock are clearly not selling in the market. And anyway, for now, it's hope intact on Z Entertainment. Rajat, let's go back and discuss some of these trends that we are spotting. I mean, on telecom stocks, for instance, is there any reason to start looking at something like a Bharti Airtel? Maybe not a Vodafone Idea, because they're still getting their house in order after the merger. But would you at all, look at Bharti at this juncture?
Well, I think there have been multiple points over the last couple of years where investors have taken some contrarian call that you will see some kind of price stability or revenue stability coming for the sector. And given the kind of investments that companies have made, for them to earn any reasonable return on equity, you will see things normalizing soon. And we have seen, while these stocks have typically remained quite volatile, that 20-25% range, they have always traded, couple of times in a year. Again, I think we keep hearing that, you may see things normalizing sometime this year. And given the kind of underperformance that you have seen in the sector, also in the stock, you'll always have some contra investors who will look at this. I think we will need to see some definitive 1 or 2 quarters of improvement in the business trends before one can take a longer term investment call that the stock has bottomed out.
Okay, a couple of stocks making move right now. One is Bajaj Finance. It's a new all-time high. I think it's approaching 3,000. It'll be the first time that the stock will cross 3,000 if it happens. 2,995 on that stock, so don't lose sight of that one. Axis Bank, another all-time high for that stock. That's in fact propelling the last bit of move on the bank nifty. In fact, it's the 3 p.m. now. Let's just see if there are some stocks. Larsen & Toubro is the one inching higher. ITC is the one inching higher. So some of the non-banks, heavyweights doing their bit right now. Titan has moved to high point of the day. UPL has moved to high point of the day. There's some names which stand out. On the way down, also there are some stocks like Escorts, ONGC, BHEL, which are making lows of the day, but more stocks making highs of the day like L&T. That's helping the market. Axis Bank as well. But suffice to say that 11,560 thereabout on the Nifty and about 30,430 on the Nifty Bank. There's a bit of a happening in last few minutes of trade. It will be interesting to see if this sustains, because this is looking quite interesting. Your thoughts on a couple of these heavyweights, Rajat, Larsen & Toubro and ITC?
Well, again, if you look at ITC, this is again a ranged stock, right? You will always find some move happening in this stock here and there, but you still miss some definitive triggers for one to turn quite positive on this name. This kinds of become a value stock whenever markets move closer to their highs, but we do not have any strong view on ITC right now. As far as L&T is concerned, I think it has been in the news for a lot of reasons, right from the buyback to the takeover now. But I think the core fundamental story of a pickup in the order book, a better investment cycle ahead, these two things are very, very paramount to the investment argument of this stock. Rest of the things keep creating some volatility in this space. But I think on an overall basis, one should remain positive on this name, considering that the next few years are going to be far better for the business of L&T than the last 5 years that we have seen.
Okay, Rajat, so as we let you go, just final closing thoughts then. We've had a very heady month of March. We're getting into elections. What are you advising clients for the next, let's say, 6 odd months? Are you in the camp that believes that post-election we'll get a cool off and some of this euphoria will die down? Or do you think we're really set for a big bull trend? In which case, what is the advice?
Well, I think while election will be an event which will create, I think, more volatility than a definitive trend, the bigger trend in the making, I think, is the global interest rates. I think almost 100 basis point fall in the US rates. India hasn't participated in this global easing at all. And I think that trend is ahead of us. And that is one big positive that equities will get driven through over the next 2 quarters. So I am more positive on the trend of the interest rates going down rather than taking any stronger view of the impact of elections on the markets.
All right, Rajat, we leave it there today. Thanks a lot for joining us. I'll tell you something. The stock of the moment for me is REC. And just look at that stock. That's the VWAP magic working on expiry day. Through the day, there were some shorts in the system. This is one stock where there was going to be some delivery buying because of that Bharat ETF issue. Oh, sorry, CPS issue. And look at that move. 1% higher on that stock. 150 has been crossed on that one. Just look at that. That's a big move. In fact, there are a lot of such stocks where we can spot big moves happening right now. We spotted, of course, Bajaj Finance. Among the other stocks, Apollo Tyres, that's having a move. The Bank Nifty is making a move towards 30,500, and it's the first.
Axis Bank on it.
Axis, of course, has been a strong stock. That's moving to the high point of the day. So there are a lot of these stocks. Z Entertainment, of course, we referred to. So let's see if 30,500 is crossed or not. Prakash, what next for Axis Bank? It's such a strong move.
No, I think the long positions have just started building during March. So I don't think people are in a hurry to get off. And post the March end numbers, Anuj, this re-rating will get reaffirmed of sorts. So I don't expect any sell-off unless there's something disastrous that is yet to come through. But both of them, ICICI, Axis. But my money is on SBI in participating in this belated move for corporate-facing banks. So, and of course, you can't have the same.
We are on their 52-week highs today. That's what I was going to ask you.
But Axis is making new highs every hour, and the kind of contribution that these 2-3 banks have had, and Yes Bank making a comeback from that 240, 250 zone all the way to 275. Spectacular moves, 10% moves in 2 days. For a large bank, you don't see these every month of the year.
Look at SRF now. That's the one which is making a move. UPL, we thought that stock would move. Yesterday it wasn't that part of our top 10. UPL, just look at that stock. Had a minor correction, and how that's been bought into 3% higher on that stock. Sun TV is making a move. Cholamandalam higher right now. The market's cooling off at the index level, but a lot of mid caps doing well. So interesting bit of action right now.